Hey there everyone, it's Anthony back with another video here on Single and Placing. Hi, I hope you're having a fantastic day, weekday, weekend, week month, evening, morning, overnight, all of that good stuff. I hope it's a good one. Today I have for you a little status update on a project that I've been working on. It's also a quasi-finish, I suppose. This is a kit that I have been working on for the past month-ish, and it was quite the, I guess, saga. It was just a situation, I suppose. I'm going to try to downplay it a little bit. Essentially, I purchased a kit from a shop that I had never purchased from, DIY Moonshop, and it was a kit that I had had my eye on for almost a year, ever since I first discovered that shop and kind of started diamond painting. It was always on my list of kits that I wanted to work on, and so I ended up finally snagging it after having some hesitation for a number of different reasons. Ended up snagging it, did the unboxing, and during the unboxing, I just noticed some stuff that I wasn't super happy with necessarily. And so I did a series of videos a few weeks ago, if not even a little bit longer, where I talked about what my concerns are and what I was going to do to address them. So now we are here at this stage where I am partially finished with the kit, partially finished with some of the stuff I did to make some changes. So I just wanted to provide a status update, kind of state of where things are and what I plan to do going forward. I'm going to kind of call this a wrap up on this particular kind of series discussing this kit. It may make an appearance at some point in the future, but at this stage right now, I'm kind of ready to hit the pause button and just kind of share where I am at as of today. So that being said, this is Makiling by Dee Jae'PaEste. This is a 150 by 50 centimeter round drill canvas with 42 colors. Technically, it's more like 41. We'll get to it. But yeah, round drill canvas, poured glue, kind of soft-ish back canvas, all of that good stuff. So I think what I'm going to do first is talk a little bit about my experience diamond painting on this kit, almost kind of like a review of the first portion of it, and then we'll talk about the changes I made, go into more detail about all of that stuff kind of as a second half. So I guess starting off, like I said, with how I feel about this kit from a drilling and quality standpoint, I'm actually happy. It's a fine kit, or it has been a fine kit to work on. The drills are really nice quality. I believe they're acrylic drills. I'm sure they're acrylic drills. However, there was one color, and that was number 23, symbol D, DMC code 898. It's like a deeper brown that's kind of snuck in here and there, maybe like a medium shade of brown. For whatever reason, those drills had more facets to them as compared to the other drills that DIY Moonshop provided, which were more kind of the button style, kind of smooth topped. So I don't know if that particular color was from a different manufacturer, or it almost made it feel like it might have been a resin drill, but it was like kind of an anomaly within the other colors. It was the one color or one drill that looked a little different from the others. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but overall, happy with the drill quality. Not much trash, if anything, and they all placed nicely, no tabs, anything like that. So good drill quality, happy with that. As far as the symbol clarity, not too bad either. The majority of the symbols were pretty clear. However, sometimes on the symbols that are printed in white, they were a little bit blurry and hard to differentiate. And then two particular colors, DMC 917 and DMC 718, those were, the symbol is 8, number 8, and the other one is 9, but they're right up against each other in this kind of deeper, or this kind of magenta color. There's a mix of 8 and 9 in there, and they're very subtle. There's like an 8 here, but then everything else will be 9, and then 8 here. They kind of ran the borders in this magenta sometimes sprinkled throughout the middle, but they're very close colors, and the symbols between 8 and 9, sometimes it was hard to tell which was an 8 and which was a 9. So there's less 8s than 9s, so when I was placing, I would place my 8s here and there, and then I'd go through with the 9s just to make sure I wasn't confusing it. But until I kind of got that system down, I was having a hard time differentiating between the 8 and the 9 because the symbols were ever so slightly blurry. The other one is 310, which was an equals sign. Sometimes the second equal dash on the equal sign was a little bit blurry, so it just looked like a single dash, but luckily there wasn't anything else with just a dash, so it was pretty easy to figure out, but it was, once again, a little bit blurry. And then as far as the actual glue itself, it was fine for, I'd say, 90% of what I worked on here was fine. However, I did notice the glue being a little bit slippery, so the drills were a little bit more prone to fall off or slide around really easily along these edges. So pretty much like here, this like area especially, up here along here, a little bit right here, slippery glue. So I had to make sure that I placed really firmly, let it sit for a little bit before I released the drill, just to kind of let it affix quite nicely. But I did find every time I would unroll this canvas or move it around or put it back on the table, this stuff would kind of be a slidey mess, so I'd have to like realign them. I initially thought I was going to start sealing this canvas as I went just to make sure I wasn't losing as many drills, but I didn't want to seal as I go, accidentally get sealer on, the parts that I hadn't worked on. So a little hack that I ended up doing is I found, well, I didn't find, but I have a hairspray that I used to use. It's a medium hold, dry finish, high sheen or high shine hairspray, and surprisingly it worked. I went over the corners and the edges of this with a hairspray and just went shh and just sprayed it all down. That way the drills kind of set in that and they didn't move, and it actually worked pretty well. Like, I'm able to wiggle my finger on these, and before that would just make them slip around, but now they're kind of holding in place. So I'm not going to fuss with it too much because I don't want to break that hairspray seal, and that's definitely not a permanent solution, but the canvas didn't like become crispy or stiff. It still has a flexibility to it, and I don't think it lost any shine either. So that's a good thing. In fact, I'm seeing a drill right here that's missing, but that's okay. I don't think that was a loose drill because of glue. I think I just didn't, where did it go? I think I just didn't place it. Oh, there's a few. There's 2 blacks right here. Ooh, that might have been because of the glue. I don't think I would have missed 3 drills, but that's okay. I'm not gonna fuss with it right now. We're gonna keep rolling, even though now I'm fixating on it. But overall, the actual working up of the kit was, I'd say, like a B plus, as far as anything that was fussy, drills, anything like that. Overall, not bad at all. I wouldn't mind working up this kit in full, even with the little things like the hairspray and some drills kind of coming off here and there. I did roll up this canvas as I was working on it, and then just kind of clipped it back. So me rolling and unrolling, if it's not like super sturdy glue, you're going to be risking some stuff. Like, it didn't just live here on the table this entire time nice and flat. So usually when I finish a canvas, I do a once over to look it over and make sure there weren't any missing drills. I just didn't do that this time. So no knock to them for those coming off, but overall, it was fine. It was a decent experience, not something where I was like, oh, I can't work on this anymore or anything like that. So that's it. That's about it for the quality and how it worked up. As far as the rendering goes, when it comes to where things are, as far as confetti versus color blocking and the detail, again, not too many complaints necessarily. I think that the actual look of it, as far as the composition, looks okay. I will say that this particular style of artwork is a little bit more cartoony if we look at the original image, which we will soon. There's very solid black outline around these clouds. There's very solid definition but in the transition of these colors. However, because this is a computer rendering, you do get a lot of these transition colors in between. So rather than this, like let's say right here along this cloud, rather than this just being a nice black line, you've got greens, browns, purples, a whole bunch of different colors in this kind of outline, but it could have just been all black. Once again, that's the nature of a computer rendering. It's really gonna fine tune those colors so you get a lot more colors in areas that maybe wouldn't necessarily need it. The same here if we're looking at this strip down her hair in between these colors here. You can see that the computer created a nice clean definition here between these two shades, but then we start to see a little bit of these teals, a dark blue, some more teals, even black down here, this dark green kind of randomly, some lighter greens between the blue and the yellow. So the color transitions between, like especially right here, you can see there's a lot of these kind of odd colors placed throughout here. There's some deeper purples. If there was one color like darker and then the solid in the middle and then one darker to make that transition fine, but it does give it a little bit of an odd look up close. At a viewing distance, it's not as noticeable, but this right here is pretty noticeable even at a distance. Like there's just like some odd kind of colors that have been selected. There's like a kind of avocado green right here. And then again, like in this area, it got a little confused. So it had a little splotch of orange right here. We're gonna take a closer look at the canvas from a color standpoint once we finish this portion. Overall, I understand computer rendering is going to have some of these anomalies here and there, but I think it speaks to the fact that there probably wasn't, if any, hand charting done here from that standpoint. Other companies specialize in this kind of cartoony kind of rendering or clean cut lines. Think of like your Diamond Art Clubs. Their rendering style is a little bit more linear, a little bit more kind of chunky. So I think this kit or this image would fare better with that style of rendering than this kind of lots of mixy kind of colors here and there. It starts to really blur things a little bit. These little wispy kind of oh look, there's a missing one there. I think that's just drills popping off, unfortunately, but these little kind of dandelion things right here, they start, the little stems of them are more noticeable here, but once they start to interact with other parts of the canvas, you can see the computer just kind of got a little messy here, and it's harder in like these areas to get that clean definition of like boom, 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 boom. Once again, at a distance, it's fine, but it could have done with a little bit more refining, a little bit more streamlining of those color transitions. Another thing that I noticed here in these flowers, you can see there's these little dots of a lighter pinkish purple here. Those are not in the original image, these random little pixels, but the computer noticed a slight change in color, even though in the grand scheme of things it should stay the same. So it randomly put these little dots in here, which I think are a little distracting in those flowers. There's like 4 over here and a bunch here. So just little stuff like that could have been cleaned up to create a little bit more definition and uniformity in the actual charting or rendering of like the details. So other than that, at a viewing distance, it looks much better. I'm even looking in the camera and it looks fine, but I think you can see some of that stuff. I can see it in the camera. So that's kind of where I'm at with the part that I completed up to right here. And there's a reason why I have this cut off. So essentially the biggest issue that I had with this kit when I did the unboxing, took a closer look, was the colors that were selected. I personally found them to not be not as accurate or a good representation of the original artwork. This overall look was a little bit more muted in camera, and if you didn't see the original image, you'd be like, what are you talking about? It actually looks fine. And that's true. If I hadn't have seen the original image and just kind of bought this sight unseen, or the original image had been adjusted to reflect this color charting, I probably wouldn't have had anything to say about it. But I fell in love with the bright poppy colors that were part of this original image, and I didn't see that translated into a few of the colors that DIY Moonshop had selected for this kit. So what I decided to do is, rather than working it up as they charted the colors or just completely redoing it, I thought it'd be a fun experiment to essentially chop this canvas kind of in half and do this much with what the DIY Moonshop sent me, and then the rest of it with my own color charting. I did a video of how I picked those colors previously, so go back and take a look at that if you so choose. But I have been working with those replacement colors. I did 2 columns, so about this much over here that we're going to reveal. So it's not all the way done, and I'll talk about why I decided to film this video at this stage. I think it's to like right here with the new colors. So I want to show those to you, reveal the difference in the colors. Keep in mind, in camera, it might not be that drastic of a difference, but to the naked eye, it looks a lot different. And lighting is going to play a factor in that too. So I'm doing the best that I can with my ring light and all of that stuff. So I'm going to reveal the part that I did complete, and then I'm also going to show you the differences in DMC color, like the actual drills. I didn't save the ones that I swapped out. I didn't save the containers of those drills. I kitted them down, but I did save a swatch. So I have one drill of each of the colors that I swapped out. So I'll be able to show you the difference. So, and I'll do my best to also identify where those go, but some of them are in these kind of transition colors. So I might not be able to identify every single one, but it'll at least give you an idea of where some of those changes were made. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and reveal what I changed. So hopefully it comes through. So there's that dividing line through her face. So this all the way up, and you can see this change in orange. So there you go. There is the part so far up to right here that I've done with the new colors. So I have this much more of the canvas to finish. Quite a bit. I'd say probably not quite 40%. Maybe about 40% left to complete total of this kit. But there is the part that I redid from here all the way down. Okay. So before I talk about some of the glaring differences, in my opinion, let me go ahead and grab my swatch. So I have a swatch here of the drills that I swapped out. And actually, before I do that, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I was going to zoom in a little bit, but I want you to see the whole thing for a little bit longer. So here's our swatch, and I'll bring it up closer to you. That's super far away. Where's the camera? There we go. And then let's peel that back. So hopefully you can see those pretty well. Okay, cool. That looks fine, right? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna grab my drills. So whoops, sorry, I'm stepping all over this tripod. I'm gonna grab the drills. I'm gonna grab my notes. Okay, so the first one that I swapped out is going to be this first color here, which is, so I'm going to read these like I'm reading a book, okay? So 5, 5, and 5, I replaced 15 colors, okay? So that first one is that kind of pale yellow. That is DMC 165. I replaced that with 907. So there's that pale yellow, and there's the color I replaced it with, kind of that bright, bright green. So there's the first one I swapped out. The next one that I swapped out is going to be, I replaced 318, kind of that smoky gray. I replaced that with 762, which is much lighter. This is more of like an off-white. So I did that. That third color that you're seeing there, sorry, they're so tiny, is that kind of sage green. I replaced that, that is, hold on, sorry. That is 469, and I replaced it with 471, and that's number 10. So not that much of a difference. It's a little bit lighter of a sage, okay? The next one that I replaced was 762, which is that next kind of off-white. I replaced that with just a straight 5200. So once again, a little bit brighter, a little bit whiter. It's hard to tell on camera, but they are slightly different colors. The next one that I replaced is 799, so that's that kind of periwinkle or kind of cornflower, I think is what it's called, blue, that fifth one at the top. I replaced that with 996, and that's a pretty big change. Once again, in camera, it's kind of hard to tell, but this is a much brighter kind of poppy blue, like poppy as in like pop of color blue, a little bit, not neon, but more of a sky blue, bright sky blue. So I replaced that, and then I've replaced 921, which is that next blue down there, with 970. There. Wait, that's not right. Hold on. Whoops. Okay, sorry. I was like, wait, what did I do? Okay, that next one is 824, that blue. So that's the first one on the second row. And I replaced that with 796. So went from that kind of blue, which is a little bit softer, to something a little bit brighter, a little bit more, not quite navy, but getting there. Hopefully you'll see it once I kind of point them out on the canvas. And then 25, 921, which is that orange that you're seeing there, kind of that pumpkin-y orange. I replaced that with 970, so that's that really bright blue, or bright orange. This was a big one that I was like, uh-oh. So I replaced that. Then moving on, I replaced 964 is that next one, that kind of blue there. I replaced that with 3846. So there's your replacement, a little bit more aquamarine as opposed to that pale kind of color. I replaced 3012 with 3364, so that's going to be that next kind of green, mossy green, sage green. Poor thing. Okay, so what did I say? Okay, so that's 3364, so I replaced it with this color, a little bit more of a, it's also a sage kind of green, it's just slightly different. I thought it was more representative, and as did Pixel Stitch, so I swapped that one out. That one at the end, that kind of tan color, that was 3045. I replaced it with 733, which is more of a yellowy kind of green, and we'll point that out. I replaced 3364, so now we're at the bottom again, that bottom row at the first one. That kind of light yellowy kind of color, I replaced it with 502. 33. Okay, cool. So, whoops, is that right? 37, okay, 30. Oh, no, sorry. 3074 for 762. Sorry, it's this one. I was like, whoa, that's way off. So it went from this kind of pale, milky yellow to a gray, like a light gray. So, and I believe this color was already in the kit. I just used it in a different place. So there's those two. Okay, moving on. So 3364 I replaced with 502. So there's that another kind of light green, but it was a little bit more of this blue, odd kind of bluish green is what it gave me. So that kind of showed up pretty interestingly. That next one is kind of that rose, kind of dusty rose color. That was 3726, and I replaced it with 3712. So there's that. You can see it's a little bit more salmon is what I replaced it with. Second to last one here, that kind of pink color, was 3727. I replaced that with 3716. So I went just a little bit brighter with that pink, a little bit more of a true pink. So kind of stripping away kind of the, you can see a lot of these colors are kind of on a gray hue, and I wanted more of a vibrant tone. That final one, 3810, I replaced with 3845, and that's this one. Whoop, nope. 3727, I replaced with, wait, hold on, is that right? Let's grab, what was 36? Okay, so yeah, 30, 39, yes. 3810 was replaced with 3845, that final color. So we went from this kind of greenish blue, kind of grayish blue, to a more true blue. I wish this would focus. There we go. So yeah. So hopefully that gives you an okay look at this. It's kind of hard to see. I should have saved the actual containers full of drills, but I did not. I guess I did kit them down, so I could have grabbed my spares and shown you, but hopefully that gives you a decent idea of some of the changes I made. Now, I think it's a little bit more impactful when we actually look at the canvas. So you can see this line of delineation going straight up and down through here. So this over has my replacement drills. But keep in mind, I only replaced 15 of those 42 colors. So a lot of these are still the same color. It's just some ones that were pretty glaring, like that's just the wrong color compared to the original image. So those are the ones that I decided to make that change with. So what I'm going to do is just kind of show some of the differences here, and then I'm going to pull the original image that was sent to me from DIY Moonshop to show you what I'm hoping I can do. It just depends on the alignment, but I'm hoping I can do a picture-in-picture and put the original image here over so you can see the difference, and then do the same thing with the opposite side so you can see like which one's closer. If I can't do that, then I'll just put the original image like on the top or just over this and cut back and forth so you can see for yourself which one you think is a better representation. But some of the things that to point out, kind of starting from the bottom and in her face, is obviously her skin tone. The skin tone here that I used is much more of almost like a green tinge, kind of an alien looking green, as opposed to this tan that's more of a regular, a potential human's skin tone. But if you look at the original image, I think that this kind of alien, kind of off green is much closer to the original than this tan that they were using in a lot of areas. It continues up through here. You can see that tan is confettied throughout this area here. But once we get here, we're incorporating that skin color instead. So you get a different kind of sunset, kind of glowy look to this up top. Like that shading you can see that brightness of the kind of green color, as opposed to here it's much more neutral kind of tan, especially down in this area, it's much more tan. So you can tell it just looks a little bit brighter here. You can see here in the leaves, this was another color that really jumped out to me. They've used this kind of pale yellow in the leaves here and a little bit here, but I replaced that with that bright green. So this green here, this bright green, these are the same symbol. So you can see what the leaves look like when I added that brighter color compared to what they look like. And you can see some of that bright green here at the tip. So I transitioned that color. I think these look much more representative of the original artwork. The same here, there's some of that green coming up in these little pieces here. So I hope that kind of shows a little bit of a difference there. And then coming up, you can see this background green color that's right here. That gets switched to that kind of mossy, more green, that bluish green. So this little patch right here, these are supposed to be, or charted as the same color, are these two areas. So hopefully you can see that. I didn't get a lot of this in this kit yet. There's more further down, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. And then coming up here, you can see the two different colors for her hair, her first hair color. So this is that more pale, or more kind of grayish blue navy, and then this is more of a true blue. So you can see that separation here, and then here is more of that color in here. Here's more of that color right there. So look at her hair right here, and then look at the blue here. There's, like I said, it's this whole swath, and then here, 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 and here. So hopefully that shows a little bit of a difference. It's not super intense of a different color, but I'm hoping in the camera you can see the difference in vibrancy. Like this looks a little bit more pale and washed out, and then you hit this and you get that true bright blue coming through in here, okay? Again, with this next color, this whole blue in her hair is, and here as well, is this kind of cornflowery blue. There's a little bit scattered throughout these areas, but once you hit where I switched, it moves to that super bright poppy kind of blue here, along here, all throughout her hair here. So these two colors were charted as being, or they're the same symbol, but this is with my adjustment. This is probably the most impactful change I think that I made, is this blue is so much more representative compared to this kind of grayish washed out blue that we have going through here. So these are the same area, the same symbol, but this is with the enhancement a little bit down here too. So I thought that was pretty impactful. This was, I kept this kind of goldish yellow the same. All of the pinks were the same. All of this was the same. So it really was just those hair tones, the skin, and the leaves here were changed. Another area that I changed, and it's pretty subtle, is a lot of this detailing. It was supposed to be like kind of flowers on her neck and chest. I replaced a lot of the grays that you see up here. This is kind of like an off-white, almost gray with the 5200. So it's, once again, hard to tell in camera, but these are a little bit brighter and lighter than what you're seeing over here. The same here, these clouds, these are two different colors, this lighter color. So it's slightly brighter in camera. A couple other places that I swapped out colors. You can see here we've got this kind of sea foamy color here, a little bit more of a hard transition between, like if we're looking at this color moving to the white, you can see all this outline here makes it kind of look dark. I tried to soften that on this side by bringing those colors up to more aquamarines, two different colors. And I think this, even though it's not perfect, it looks a little bit cleaner. I'd love if some of these whites were gone so it doesn't look so choppy, but that's the rendering and less of the colors, but I think the colors look a little bit smoother over here than they do over here. So there's that, and that's honestly kind of about it. Oh no, that's a lie. Another big one that jumped out to me once you get here is you have that pumpkin orange, that deeper orange here, autumn orange, and then you can see that color that I swapped out is really brightening up that kind of swoop of what I'm thinking is the sun. You can see it gets a lot brighter on this side. Maybe not a ton in camera, but in person, it's a very different look and feel. But I think this brighter side is, once again, more representative of the original artwork. So that's kind of how far I've gotten into making my adjustments. Of course, we'll talk about it, but I hope that gives you a good comparison or contrast between the two sides. It's not like this is a completely different image and like worlds apart, but I think even being as subtle as it may seem, this looks a lot more true to the original image than this side so far. And I hope you feel the same. You'll have to let me know in the comments how you feel about it. What I'm gonna do now is go ahead and pop up the original image in whatever way I can make it work. So take a look at that. Take a look at the original image versus, compared to what's been completed, and as far as what was charted by DIY Moonshop, and then from here over the adjustments that I made. Pay special attention to the skin tone, the hair colors, especially that lighter blue, that kind of medium blue or skin tone, that orange in the sun. Let me know what you think. To me, it's pretty different, but for someone that had never seen the original image, I think this would have looked just fine. It just wasn't what I was expecting. It's not what they had listed on their site. It's not what I thought I was buying, and that was the main concern there. So I'll leave that up for a little bit longer. Take a look. Let me know what you think in the comments, all of that good stuff. You can see here in these dandelion looking things that this, it might not come off in camera, but this has some more white in it, whereas these are more gray. So that's that. As far as what I plan on doing now, how am I going to move forward? Well, the reason I decided to just film this video now is I didn't want to feel like I was beating a dead horse. I was hoping that I was going to be able to prove a point, that I wasn't nuts by feeling this way, and that there were some clear changes. And I feel pretty confident that I have done that for the most part. One other color, you can see these little lines of like that salmon pink over here. Those are the same over here. This it's basically this kind of like flowy kind of wind If I would have done more, you'd see it more. But this is that dusty rose, and this is that brighter pink. So I'm hoping that should I get further on that swoop will look a lot brighter than it does on this side. I'm more kind of think of this more of a salmon as opposed to this like rose that's coming through here. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But I didn't want to feel like I was beating a dead horse. My intention in doing this was absolutely not to, you know, take DIY Moonshop to task. And honestly, the only reason that I ended up, making this decision was in part by what I was seeing, but also very much in part by the response I got from DIY Moonshop when I expressed my concerns. Essentially, I was told, nope, that's what we wanted it to look like, so sorry about it. There was no, oh, we understand your concerns, we can see that there might be some rooms for adjustment, or we'd be willing to do this or that. Or there was no conversation of coming to some sort of agreement or reconciling, what my concerns were. It was just like, your eyes might be off, your computer monitor might be off, but what we send you is as close to the original image as we can possibly get it, so there's nothing to be done here. And so I was like, well, I think there is something to be done here, and I'm hoping to prove it, and I hope I did that with what I've worked on so far. I just don't, for the sake of me working up this kit completely, I don't have any intention of displaying a kit that's been split down the middle. I don't have any intention of really doing anything with this once it's done, and I've kind of lost a little bit of steam in working on it because I know that the end result isn't going to be something that I'm super happy with. It was more of just kind of a proof of concept that there's something to be said for hand charting and paying a little bit of a closer eye on the images that are sent out. And so I got to this stage and I said, you know what, let me share with everyone where I'm at currently. Hopefully that does show some of these differences, and that can be that. I'm not trying to drag a shop through the mud or anything like that, or keep harping on it. So I think this is a good stopping point for now. And who knows, maybe down the road I'll get a wild hair and just decide to keep working on this for the sake of having something to work on. But because the light at the end of the tunnel isn't going to be a kit I'm super excited about, I'm just like, okay, I think I did what I need to do here. Let me know in the comments if you feel differently, if you think I should keep pushing through. And who knows, if I do continue to work on this, I'm going to leave it kitted up. I'm not kitting it down. It's not a throwaway. It's not a done forever right now. It's just there's other things that I'd rather work on that I'm really excited to work on and want to see finished and want to put up on my wall and want to share with you all as a finish. And this really wasn't one of them. It was just kind of a proof of what can happen when you adjust some colors. Another big reason why I decided to... Oh, hold on just a second. Another big reason, sorry, I just had to stop the clip for file sizes. Another big thing that I was an impetus for me pressing pause at this time is between when I started this and getting that feedback of from DIY Moonshop of there is no opportunity to change this, this is how it is supposed to look. DIY Moonshop ended up making a pretty big announcement on their shop in the past couple of days. It's June 6th at the time of recording this. And if you go to the DIY Moonshop site as of today, they do not have very many, if any, products on their site right now. The main page says, you spoke and we listened. We can't wait to show you what we have in store. In the meantime, it's your last chance to grab these items that we have ready to ship. So right now they have 6. They have 9 kits. And remember, this is DIY Moonshop. Tons of images, tons of artists. They have 9 individual kits left for sale on their site that are ready to ship. So everything else has been pulled from their site. They are not operating in the same capacity that they traditionally do. It seems like something's going on in the background. They may be making some improvements, adjustments. Just like the page says, you spoke and we listened. I have no idea if me speaking is if I'm part of that group of people that spoke, if they have any idea that that I did that past series or have been working on this kit. But I'd like to think that other, myself included, along with other customers, having various concerns or questions about their kits has led to them making the decision to make some adjustments. And whether or not I'll be directly acknowledged or I'll get any response from the last email I sent in regards to my concerns about this kit, that's fine. I'm not looking for that kind of validation. I think it's validation enough that there are going to be changes made. So rather than continuing to talk about this in the midst of them making changes, I don't think that's, I guess, fair is the best term that I'll use. But if they're in the process of working on some stuff, I'm not going to keep pushing old issues, right? I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, even in the face of the experience I had from a customer service standpoint. And I'm just going to hold off on talking about this kit, hold off on working on it for that reason as well. Let's see what they do. And who knows, they might relaunch their site and they're like, we listened, we're now including a cover minder. So if that's the case and there's no acknowledgement or anything about renderings or color charting or hand charting, if none of that stuff's addressed and it's just something that doesn't pertain to anything that I had a concern with, then yeah, maybe I'll bring this back out because my concerns at that point will still be valid. But we're in this limbo mode, so I'm gonna shut my mouth until I learn more. Once again, I'm not here to to disparage them or once again keep bringing up issues that are in the process or may be resolved. So we're going to press hold. I think that's the most respectful thing to do, and I think that's the most professional thing to do. So I just wanted to give one last update on this. You may never see this again. You may see it as a finish at some point, just to say it's done and put it on my list of finishes. But if they relaunch their site and make some changes to help address what I'm seeing here, then I have no reason to keep talking about it. So you may see it in the future. You may not. It really just depends on what we see DIY Moonshop do in the future with their shop. But I'm happy to at least see something happen because I feel like for a long time nothing's been happening. So that's good. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up is once I posted those few videos about my initial concerns with this kit before I got started on it, I did get a little bit of pushback from a couple of people, and I did hear and see some comments elsewhere about creators starting controversy or kicking up dust as part of having a negative review about a particular product or kit. And I just don't feel the same way. I think that as someone that purchases a product as a consumer, a huge part of that, especially when you're creating content, is to share your experiences and share your thoughts. I think that's one of the things that so many diamond painters and people that watch YouTube or my channel look for is honest reviews, honest thoughts, honest feedback, so it helps to be another data set in deciding whether or not to shop with a company. So it's not always going to be positive, and when it is negative, that doesn't mean that someone's, at least me personally, I'm not trying to be malicious towards a company or knock them down a peg or anything like that. Every single shop, every single brand, every single kit that comes across my diamond painting table has the same playing field. I'm as unbiased as anybody else as I could possibly be. I have no vested interest in talking poorly about one company and then being positive with another to lift them up. At least in my world, that's just something that it seems a little silly. Maybe that happens elsewhere where it's like, well, I really love this company, so what I'm going to do is talk bad about another one so people spend money elsewhere. It sounds crazy to me, but I guess maybe it happens elsewhere. But in no way was I trying to drum up any sort of controversy by expressing my concerns here. I'm just trying to be honest with everyone so you can make educated and informed decisions about what you work on, where you buy from, all of that, what to expect. Everyone's mileage may be different. There's several people that reached out saying that their kits from DIY Moonshop were great. maybe it depends on image to image, rendering style, image style. This is just what I'm seeing with my own two eyes in front of me, and what I did to make some adjustments. So I want to squash all that. If anyone watches those videos and are like, I don't know about Anthony, and maybe he's doing this for some nefarious reason. I don't know of anything in my own head. Maybe I need to be hypnotized to find out, but nothing that I know of, and nothing that I'm doing intentionally. Absolutely not. And I also want to encourage content creators that might be getting started or might already have a channel. If you are having a poor experience with a kit or a canvas and you're sitting there thinking like, I don't want to rock the boat, I don't want people to get mad because everyone loves this shop, but I'm not loving it, don't be pressured into staying silent. Speaking up about this type of stuff and being honest about your experience and putting it out there in a public space is exactly how and why shops make the decision to make adjustments. If everyone just kind of kept quiet and said, oh, well, I don't want to create a fuss, or I don't want this other content creator who loves this shop to be mad at me because we're friends or they've commented, don't let any of that discourage you from being open and honest and transparent, because that is what enacts change. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing in real time with DIY Moonshop. And it's been proven by what you can see on their site now. Things are on pause. Their business seems to be on hold until some adjustments, whatever those are made. But if everyone just stays quiet and doesn't raise their hand, then that is at the detriment not only of the people that are watching your channel and the people that love your content and follow you, but it's actually at the detriment of the shop itself. Because if they don't know and they just move along with what they've been doing, then they're going to start to see sales decrease, because we'll just kind of stop shopping from them, on the sly, or just kind of steer away from them. And they don't have any sort of information as to why and how and where they can make those changes to bring a lot of those folks back. So keep talking about your experiences, good, bad, neutral. It's all an open space. It's all an even playing field, and your opinions are valued here. So that's all I really wanted to cover for now. I don't think I'm going to be coming back to this kit anytime soon. Who knows, if I get a wild hair and I'm like, I just feel like putting some drills down on a random canvas, then I'll keep going. But I hope that this gives you a little bit of a look at what I was able to do, why I did it, how I'm going to go forward. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share this content with friends, family members, anyone that you think might take some value out of this content. Otherwise, happy placing. We'll see you next time. Bye, 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 bye. Bye.